Hey guys, Sneaky Narcotic, back at it again with another YouTube video. Today we're going to go over some more Throne of Eldraine spoilers. Before we get into the video guys, please like, share, and subscribe. It would mean a lot to me and I'd greatly appreciate it. I'd also like to remind you guys that once we hit 100 subscribers, I have a very exciting announcement to make. So I hope we can get that done before the Throne of Eldraine spoiler season is over. But before we go into the cards themselves, let me tell you guys how I look at the cards. So, first I look at them through the eyes of Commander, then Historic, then Standard, then Brawl, and lastly, because this set is so beautiful, I look at it through the art. So guys, let's get into some spoilers! First spoiler of the day, Fervent Champion. 1 red mana creature human knight. It is a rare. It has first strike. It has haste. When Fervent Champion attacks, another target attacking knight you control gets +1/+0 until end of turn. Equip abilities you activate that target Fervent Champion cost 3 less to activate. 2018 World Champion Javier. Oh, guys, this is the from the 2018 World Champion. This is the player card. I assume that is a likeness of him on top of the horse there. That's pretty neat. It is a 1/1 with first strike and haste with a discounted cost for equipment. I think this card will see play. Whether you go from Commander equipment deck to Historic, if you're playing an equipment deck, I see this seeing play mainly for the first strike. Because there's been 1/1 hasters for 1 red in red before. So a first strike on a 1/1 is really good. And then a first strike on a creature that can potentially equip things for 0 is pretty good too. So, anyways, let's get into the next one. Epic Downfall. 1 generic, 1 black, sorcery, uncommon. Exile target creature with converted mana cost 3 or greater. The dragon had a lot of things going through his mind that day. He didn't expect a sword to be one of them. So, I don't know what the art's from. I can't think of that. As far as the card itself, no in Commander, no in Historic. The only way I see it in Standard is in the sideboard, because it's not every day that you're fighting creatures with converted mana cost 3 or greater. I do appreciate that it exiles them, though. I do appreciate that. But as far as the card is, I just don't see it. It is at sorcery speed, and it's kind of like... It's kind of similar in my mind to Price of Fame, because most creatures with converted mana cost 3 or greater, I say most, a good amount of them, are legendary, and so that's what I think of in this sense. But even then, I think Price of Fame is an instant, so that whole sorcery speed kind of kills it. And on top of that being so limited, I just don't think it's worth it, guys. I really don't. Into the Story. 5 generic and 2 blue mana. Instant, uncommon. This spell costs 3 less to cast if an opponent has 7 or more cards in their graveyard. Draw 4 cards. The boundary between real and imaginary is as thin as the page and just as easily torn. This is pretty cool. I love this. I love this card. The whole design around it. So first off, let's go with it's an instant and it's draw 4 cards. That is potentially draw 4 cards for 4. Now, as a 4 of in any deck, I don't see it. Commander, I am actually going to put this in my mono blue Commander, so I would say yes for Commander. As far as Historic, I see this in like a mill deck in Historic, and mill decks, but this card could be in the mill deck, you know? Let me think, what else? Standard, maybe as a 2 of, just because it's so powerful draw. Like, that almost feels like you're rejuvenating your hand, you know what I mean? Where you have 4 new cards, and surely not all 4 of them are land, right? Brawl for sure, as a one, well, obviously as a 1 of, but definitely in Brawl, yeah. Reave Soul. 1 generic, 1 black mana, sorcery, common. Destroy target creature with power 3 or less. Into Amethyst I pour Envy's shadow, sorrow's gleam, lure the one whose scorn I abhor, that I may hear one final scream. Barrow Witch incantation. I don't necessarily know what this is from, but the card itself, destroy target creature with power 3 or less, is pretty good. Again, it's going to be one of those that get sideboarded in, so not commander, not historic. The only time in standard would be a sideboard, and then brawl for surely not. So yeah, it's an okay card. It's a common. What do you expect? Elite Headhunter. Now this card is really weird. So first off, my obligatory explanation of how hybrid mana works in Historic and Brawl. So hybrid mana, in this case black and red, the only deck that you can put this in is if the commander has in their color identity black and red. You can't have just a black commander or just a red commander have this card in the 99 or what is it, 59? Something like that. I'm not quite sure in all actuality how many cards are in a Brawl deck. But anyways, this is a 4 hybrid mana of black or red, creature human knight uncommon. It has menace. It has 3 hybrid of red or black. Sacrifice another creature or an artifact. Elite Headhunter deals 2 damage to target creature or planeswalker. Nothing remains of his foes but the gripping story of their downfall, and it is a 2/3. So, the only real thing I could see this in... is potentially in a Mardu Aristocrats. Mardu Aristocrats was there for a minute. It's kind of gone away recently, and I still don't even think this will save it. I don't honestly know if this will be good in it. But that just is the only way I feel like this will be in there is through Mardu Aristocrats. Sorcerous Spyglass. 2 generic, artifact, rare. As Sorcerous Spyglass enters the battlefield, look at an opponent's hand, then choose any card name. Activated abilities of sources with the chosen name can't be activated unless they're meta abilities. So, the thing about this card is, again, it's going to be one of those sideboard heavy cards, so no to commander, no to, well, maybe commander, but not brawl, not historic, really, which is interesting because this card is a reprint from Ixalan, which isn't historic. So, as far as this card goes, it's two mana to basically shut down an ability, and I just don't like that. Now, you get to look at the opponent's hand, but you don't have to choose a card from his hand to deactivate the abilities. And this card just gets really stronger after you've known the opponent's deck. And that's the reason why I say it's very sideboard. Very much going to be in the sideboard. In most decks, actually, because it is an artifact, so you don't have to care about the mana cost as far as colors. But it's just not going to be great to mainboard this because you don't know if there is an activated ability in your opponent's deck. He could be playing a Spellslinger deck or just a straightforward creature deck. Nothing, no shenanigans here or there. And this doesn't in historic. You still have those lands that have activated abilities, and this can shut them down. But that's just kind of like, Alright. Fell the Pheasant. 1 generic, 1 green, instant, common. Fell the Pheasant deals 5 damage to target creature with flying, and then creates a food token. Maybe food tribal, and again, it's going to be a sideboard card. If you don't know how I feel about food tribal, it's going to only be in standard, maybe historic. But again, this is going to be sideboard because your opponent could not be playing flying. Although I do love that they're still trying to keep Azorius Flyers in check because it is going to be such a popular choice when it comes to standard. A keen eye and steady hand are essential for defeating most foes, including hunger. Sire Grenfire, Knight of Garenbrig. Merchant of the Veil, 2 generic, 1 red, creature human, peasant. It is a common. It has Haggle, which is 1 red mana. Instant adventure. You may discard a card. If you do, draw a card. Then exile this card. You may cast the creature later from exile. So, this is a loot. Just for 1 red, you loot. You discard something from your hand and draw a card. And then he has himself a loot. So if you pay 3 mana, you get a 2/3 that has the ability pay 2 generic mana and 1 red mana, discard a card, draw a card. Buying old worn out junk, selling marvels of real value. So this card might see play in mono red. It is kind of expensive for an aggro deck, so maybe more of a big red deck. But just because if you get more than 3 land in a red deck most of the time, unless you are playing big red, you can discard it and draw a card instead of having to worry about it. And you getting, that's basically, I know it's not really a draw because it's basically spend a card for a card, but in mono red, that's kind of what you need. So I could see it. I could see it. Ardenvale Tactician, 1 generic 2 white creature human knight, and it is a common. Dizzying Swoop, 1 generic 1 white. Instant adventure. Tap up to 2 target creatures. Okay, that's kind of good. 2 mana to tap 2 target creatures, that's kind of good for a common. It's a flyer with 2/3. That's kind of good too. And a castle that prizes loyalty above all. The bond between knight and griffin is unmatched. This card, oh man, this card for some reason reminds me of Aerial Responder, even though it's nowhere close. I wish they'd reprint Aerial Responder, if I'm going to be honest with you. Side note, this card would see play in Azorius Flyers just for the diversity of being able to tap down creatures. Yeah. Edgewall Innkeeper. 1 green mana, creature human Pheasant. I'm so sorry. Peasant. Uncommon. Whenever you cast a creature spell that has an adventure, draw a card. Yeah, that's getting played. That's getting played in Adventure Tribal. Warmth, Safety, a fully stocked larder. You'll find nothing like Edgewall Keep in the wilds, I promise you that. So, whenever you cast a creature spell that has an adventure, draw a card. Since we have them side by side, let's talk about Ardenvale Tactician while having an Edgewall Innkeeper out. I wonder if you do Dizzying Swoop, that you draw a card, and then if you play Ardenvale Tactician, you also draw a card. I believe that is how that works. It does say that if you play Ardenvale Tactician without playing its adventure, that you still draw the card. So I assume that's exactly how that works, which is pretty cool. That means that basically you get 2 draws per adventure card, and that's pretty good. This almost should be a rare. I appreciate that it's not. As far as it being in green, I really thought green was going to go more towards food tribal, but maybe you can splash in green for this little Edgewall Innkeeper. It's finally something that matters when it comes to adventure, you know? Yeah. Wandermane, which, speaking of which, more things that matter to adventure. 1 generic, 1 green, 1 white, creature horse, uncommon. Whenever you cast a creature spell that has an adventure, put a +1/+1 counter on Wandermane. It doesn't need to have gone on the adventure first. So again, with that, it doesn't need to have gone on the adventure first thing. A good steed will carry you home. A great steed will carry you to glory. Sir Alan the Lion's Claw. So having both of these, the Edgewall Innkeeper and the Wandermane out at the same time, will have it to where you're making a creature bigger and you're drawing a card every single time you play a creature with a creature or the adventure. So yeah. Oh wait, no. Whenever you cast a creature spell that has an adventure. Wow, I feel like a donkey. Let's see if it says whenever you cast a creature spell that has. Okay. My bad, I'm sorry. I need to read the cards first. You're probably facepalming right now, and I apologize. But yeah, okay. Well, still, that makes it worth it to have creatures with adventure. Okay. Deafening Silence, 1 white mana enchantment, uncommon. Each player can't cast more than one non-creature spell each turn. They have forsaken their vows. The Edict of the Circle demands their voices be silenced. Sire Tasdale, Knight of Ardenvale. So, I've been told this is a reprint. I'm not aware of what set. If you do know the set, please mention in the comment section below for everyone. But as far as this card goes, for 1 white mana, that does a lot. That is a real lot. This is going in my commander deck. If you don't know, I have the new Populate deck, and I'm trying to beef it with certain things, and this will be one of them, since I play mostly creatures. As far as standard, this is going to be very interesting, because it affects you as the player that has the enchantment, and that's the reason why it's so cheap, to be honest with you. But I think it will be good all the way down. Commander to Brawl. Historic, Standard, probably Sealed even. I just think it will be good. High hopes. Glass Casket. 1 generic, 1 white mana. I assume this is from Snow White. I am not sure. Artifact. Uncommon. When Glass Casket enters the battlefield, exile target creature an opponent controls with converted mana cost 3 or less until Glass Casket leaves the battlefield. Fate will decide whether it's a bed or a tomb. So, I don't think it will see play. It's an interesting artifact. I hate when they do these like not so important artifacts and they give it a single mana, like this white mana. I don't really think you should ever do that to artifacts, especially when they don't do a lot. So no, I don't think it will see play all the way down. Maybe Brawl for some weird reason, and probably Sealed if I'm gonna be honest with you, but I don't see it. No. Knight of the Keep. So here we go with the generic common. It is 2 generic and 1 white, creature human knight, and is a common. What good is loyalty to the crown if we are not also in service to those less fortunate? I fight for all of us. It's a 3/2. It's decent for a common. Probably will see play in Sealed just because of that front end being 3. I'd like it better if it was a 2/3 instead of a 3/2, but what you gonna do? It's a common. It's a common. It's a knight, at least. Lost Legion. 1 generic, 2 black mana. Creature spirit knight. They are just going everywhere with these creature types. It is a common. When Lost Legion enters the battlefield, scry 2. And then it's a 2/3. Hey, that's what I was just asking for. A 2/3. Even death cannot diminish the persistence of the Knights of Lochthwain. Ooh, that's interesting. As far as this card is, it's a common. You can't ask for much, but for Pauper, which I never really talk about Pauper, scrying will be very good in Pauper. Drawing cards is very good in Pauper, but it just hardly ever happens. So yeah. Probably see play in Pauper. And Sealed. Ogre Errant. I swear there's actually interesting cards here in a minute, okay? I apologize. So, 3 generic, 1 red, creature, Ogre Knight. I don't know if that's ever been made, an Ogre Knight. It is common whenever Ogre Errant attacks. Another target attacking knight gains menace until end of turn. That's pretty good. Giving a knight menace for Pauper. Knights kept returning from Ogre's Pass wearing nothing but bruises, so they decided to just pretend it was on their side. Alright. That's one way to do it. Raging with Redcap. 2 generic, 1 red, creature, Goblin Knight. Hey, look at that. Another Goblin Knight. This is an Ogre. I'm so sorry. This is a Goblin. Goblin Knight. It is a common with double strike, and it is a 1/2. Honestly, it'll probably see play just because of the double strike. In Standard. Nowhere else. Many Tales of Redcap terror begins with 2 simple things. Bloodlust and Stolen Steel. That's cool. Thunderous Snapper. Now, this card is going to be really good if you like Hydras, and if you're playing big creatures, or big anything, in blue or green. So again, the hybrid mana blue-green, remember that for Brawl and Commander, you have to have both colors and the color identity. It is a 4 mana of blue or green, creature, turtle, hydra, uncommon. Whenever you cast a spell with converted mana cost 5 or greater, which green does quite a bit, draw a card. While humans hear only a deafening roar, the Fae hear music of breathtaking beauty. It is a 4/4/4/4 that draws you cards for casting spells. That's another thing. If they counter your spell, you still get to draw a card. I love that. That's very good. The only other thing I'd wish for is hexproof on this thing, but it's a sizable body. It's a Hydra, which, it kind of matters, but not really. There might be some random Hydra tribal cell in Standard somewhere. Maybe in Historic, but I don't know. So, yeah, Commander, if you're playing Hydra Tribal, which my buddy does, possibly in Brawl, definitely in Standard and Historic, just if you're playing big spells. It's a very useful card. The last of the English-speaking ones, Oathsworn Knight. Love the full art on this card. This card looks sick. 1 generic, 2 black mana, creature, human, knight. It is a rare. Oathsworn Knight enters the battlefield with 4 +1/+1 counters on it. Yay! Oathsworn Knight attacks each combat if able. Okay. If damage would be dealt to Oathsworn Knight while it has a +1/+1 counter on it, prevent that damage and remove a +1/+1 counter from it. It is a 0/0 of base. So, a 3 mana creature with +1/+1 counters, with 4 of them. So it's a 4/4/3 mana creature. Human Knight. That's going to matter because there's going to be ways to make him more valuable as a knight, since the Mardu Knights are going to be a real big thing here. And the other thing to think about is that if you give this creature Vigilance, he just gets better. And if you get it on an equipment and you bring him back because you are playing black, then he just becomes a recurring threat that can block and defend, or block and attack. So, I like this card. I really do. I think buy 4 copies. Sure. Mono black looks good anyways. Yes. The dreaded symbols that I don't know. Oakhame Adversary. 3 generic mana, 1 green. Creature, elf, warrior. It is an uncommon. Oakhame Adversary costs 2 less to cast if an opponent controls a green permanent. And it has Death Touch. So, and when it deals combat damage to a player, draw a card. So it could be potentially a 1 generic, 1 green mana, 2/3 with Death Touch that when it deals combat damage to a player, draw a card. I believe there will be, again, some random cell of Death Touch Tribal, and this will go in it, just to draw you cards. So, yeah, I could see it. But only in Standard. I don't think so for Historic, honestly, and for Commander, no. Brawl, perhaps. Maybe a mono green Brawl would play it. Maybe. Yes, the card of the day, if I dare say. Sound Intrusion. Or at least that's what they think is what those symbols say. So it's 1 black mana, sorcery, uncommon. Target opponent reveals his or her hand. You may choose a non-land card from your opponent's hand. If you do, your opponent exiles that card. If a non-black card was exiled this way, exile a card from your hand. So, there is a downside to being able to play 1 black mana to basically discard, or exile an opponent's card from their hand. Now, it does have to be non-land, whatever. But this is going to be really good if you're playing any type of mono black adventure, because then you can just play the creature from exile. So that's pretty good. If it's a non-black card was exiled this way and you get to exile a card from your hand, that's not a downfall, since you get to play that creature anyways. I do appreciate what they're doing with adventure. And I do believe that's how that goes. Me and my friend were debating back and forth. I believe I won the debate because I believe that's how that goes. Redcap Brawl, 1 red mana. Instant. Redcap Brawl deals 4 damage to target creature or planeswalker. If this deals damage to a non-red permanent, sacrifice the land. that sucks. Sacrificing land's kind of bad. I would like to say you can sacrifice the land that you tapped for this, and it does deal 4 damage to target creature or planeswalker. Now, whenever you're burning away at something, you want it to also be able to hit their life total. That's my only complaint about this card. Maybe a sideboard card against an red, but I don't really see this card seeing play all the way down. No, it's kind of bad. I appreciate them doing a 1 red mana instant, okay? Speaking of which, red mana, this meme is brought to you by, oh crap, I lost my page of my, I have a Magic the Gathering, Facebook page, and if you don't know it, you can find it on their own Facebook. It's Magic the Gathering Decks, and we're a group of people who enjoy Magic the Gathering. If you want me to post a deck list or video of any kind, let me know, dude. I'll definitely do it. I don't know if you can go ahead and do it because I'm still a little new to Facebook pages. If you can't do it, just send me a message. I added a message button on my homepage that you can send me a message, and I'll do it myself. But this meme today is brought to you by one of my people on Facebook, Brian K. Contreras. So Brian K. Contreras is says, I posted a question. I said, what type of Throne of Eldraine standard decks are you guys going to make first? Do you have complete deck list yet? Because if you do, I'd love to play them once the standard comes in. Brian K. Contreras says, I guess mono red aggro, cheap and effective. God. Please let mono red die. Please let mono red die. Oh god. But anyways, guys, thank y'all for watching. Please let me know in the comment section down below what you are thinking about and what type of decks y'all would like to make as your first Throne of Eldraine deck. Not even in standard, like Brawl, Commander, Standard, Historic, Pauper, if you're into that thing. Yeah, let me know. If I can, I'll do it. I'm saving up my coins on Arena right now to basically just pump out. What the heck are they even called? Cards. Pump out cards from Throne of Eldraine. I'm going to spend all of my coin that I saved up for the month of September to pump out cards from Throne of Eldraine. So yeah, I will hopefully have a good bit of cards to show for you guys, and a good bit of wild cards to use for him. So anyways, guys, thank y'all for watching. Please like, share, subscribe. This is Sneaky Narcotic, signing off.